Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Good morning. That's right, to you. Good morning and welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris, and it is the 6th day of October, you Espanol speakers. It is a wonderful day in the neighborhood, although here in Chicagoland it looks a bit gray and cloudy. But here's the good deal, the good news, the good everything. The sun is always shining on the inside because of what? That's right, the promise that tells us when we come together with a like-minded spirit, two or more of us, something wonderful is going to happen. And if that isn't sunshine, I don't know what is. Can I get an amen? That's the bell of purpose, and I use it and ring it, that's right, on purpose. Why? Because first of all, the bell of truth has a ring to it. Truth has a ring to it. I know we get busy, so if you're distracted, you're multitasking, making oatmeal, driving to work, if you hear the bell, lean in, tune in, and take some of that truth with you. Trust me, you will not regret it. Okay, help me at this time. Welcome to the show. As always, she's my sidekick. I kind of think of her as my own version of Ed McMahon. This is Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. And a little bit of business real quick. You guys, let me get it up on the screen to make it even easier for you. I would like to invite you to go over to this site. Where is it? There it is. There it is. I'm going to put it on the bottom and I'm going to put it there. Heart of Hollywood magazine. Pre-order your copy today. Let me get it where you can see it. That's us. That's you, me, all of us with a message every month down here at the bottom. I am on the back. We are on the back of this magazine, Heart of Hollywood magazine, for the next 2 years. That's right. And yeah, they gifted it. God is good all the time, and all the time. Absolutely right. God is good. So get over, order your copy now. Lots of great content. Heart of Hollywood Magazine. Thank you to Giovanna Salas and all of the team over at Heart of Hollywood. Let's see. I don't know if I have much to talk about as far as what's happening in the world today. Or am I? Let me see. Oh, I do have one more thing I want to tell you guys. Listen, I want you to get over to my website. Let me put that up because I don't want you to miss out, and then we'll get our guests in here. Man, there's a whole bunch of there. Head over to my website, LorneMichaelsHarris.com, and reserve your seat for, it's coming up in a couple weeks in October on a Saturday, a free 90-minute preview. It's not taped, it is live. You're going to get a preview of my new program. I hate to call it a program, but you'll hear it in the promo, but it's really special. I'm so excited about it. We're so excited about it, and we hope you are too. Here's a little bit of what you can expect. Well, hello, and hello. I am here because I need to have a little talk with you. My name is Lorne Michaels Harris, and I'm here to personally invite you to come in and experience a 90-minute free preview of my latest work. It is, I don't want to just say it's a program but it's the culmination of my latest work. And I call it P3, Purpose, Patience, and Passion. Have you ever been in the position where you know something through and through 1,000% with no proof? What about this one? When you found yourself at that fork in the road of your journey, and to the left and to the right are two different opportunities, but you can feel some of everything, good, bad, and everything in between. But you stayed stuck. It didn't take either. It belongs to all of us simply because we are. So join me, won't you, for this 90-minute free preview of P3, the Journey series. Just come in and check it out. Come in and be a part of the conversation. Let's heal. Let's learn. Let's go. See you inside. Click the button. And I just can't hide it. Why? Because inside this program, not only are you going to hear from me, but you're also going to experience some testimonials one-on-one with 17 of the people that I've had the pleasure of working with over the last 5 years. Now, there's been 192 people, but these 17 are something special. You're going to find out how they found their way on the covers of magazines, hit television shows, iHeartRadio shows. Actually, every door I've gone through, there was room for them to come to. And that's what P3 is all about, to remind us that when we are blessed beyond measure, when abundance comes to us, that's why it's abundance and not just one thing at a time, a house, a car, a money. Abundance gives you the opportunity for more everything, more joy, more headaches, more sleepless nights, but also more passion, more purpose, and more patience. So come on over, get over to the website, LorneMichaelsHarris.com. Click the button and reserve your seat for the free 90-minute preview of P3, the Journey series. Now, speaking of journeys, these two today, I call them kids, but they're grown-ass people. They're a married couple. I just love them, Alexis and Justin Black. They've been here before. I hope you remember. They are, you see this back here, alumni. That's right from the Purple Project, where I spoke there a couple years ago. But the Purple Project and this alumni is because we are all alumni of the foster care system. These two have gone on and done some wonderful things in their lives and done things to change a lot of lives. So they had the book out, and they've now added a companion book to it. And I just wanted to get them back in here so we could catch up, find out what's going on, and get poured into. So put your hearts on the screen. Put your hearts into this conversation. We're showing our soul this season on Bathrobe Moments, and that includes you. So let's get involved, be interactive. Comments are welcomed and appreciated. Get ready. Here they come. Justin and Alexis Black. I don't know what that sounded like to you guys, but the countdown clock sounded like it was like some DJ was. Did you hear all those little? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, that was interesting. Ever since Facebook showed their butt the other day, we had issues yesterday. I kept seeing little pop-ups that were like, you're not live, but it looks like you are. But don't worry, we're capturing it, and it'll be there later. And just weird things going on. What did you guys think the other day? And Facebook and WhatsApp, and what was the third one? Another one was down.
Instagram.
Yeah, everything was down basically.
Yeah, Instagram.
What do you think that was?
I have no idea.
Man, they about to get what's the whistleblower going on right now. So it's just coincidental that everything shut down right now. So
yeah, I heard something about that. The good thing it wasn't. Remember, you guys probably too young to remember Y2K.
No.
No.
You don't remember when it turned to year 2000?
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember, but like I know what it is. I was
How
only
old were you two in 2000?
I was only 3, so
I was 6.
Lord, oh my goodness. Well, that's when everybody thought that the conspiracy theory was that all of the internet and everything was going to crash.
Oh yes.
Life would have, but if that would have happened, if those 3 things would have happened, it'd have been like War of the Worlds or whatever it was way back in the day on radio. When I remember that you heard that story, and the guy was reading a story, and people thought it was real, and went out in the street screaming, thinking aliens were coming.
Yep.
Yeah. So easy. So you two, tell us what's been going on. Take a chance here and step out and just take a bow on stage and let everybody know who you are collectively as well as individually and where you're at right now in the world.
Yeah, of course. So as you already said, my name is Justin Black. You're my amazing business partner, and also who just so happens to be my wife, Alexis Black. We are the Redefining Normal team, Redefining Normal company, and the concept of redefining normal comes from the idea that everybody has a normal based on the influences of your family, your community, and society overall, and the expectations of society. But how many of our normal is filled with trauma and become a desensitized to trauma? And that trauma is passed down generationally and becomes culture. So we are 2 foster care alumni. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I entered the system at 9 years old, dealing with a lot of mental health issues, a lot of substance abuse in my family, domestic violence, and that becoming generational. And it got to a point where I entered the system. I was able to experience different things as I struggled with worthiness, self-love, self-care, and so many other things and barriers. And when I became an older teenager, I was able to enter a group home after transitioning to multiple different homes. And I was, for the first time, surrounded by successful, loving Black couples, people who love me in general, people who are from the church, who able to help me get my driver's license, tutoring, and just help me want to be successful and go to college. And that's where I met this beautiful person right here. And changed my life for the better, had me traveling all over the place to almost 30 different countries, had me doing 2 majors in college and a bunch of other stuff. And now we're business partners, and we just got married last year in 2020. And we wrote a best-selling book, Redefining Normal, How 2 Foster Kids Beat the Odds and Discover Healing, Happiness, and Love. And as you said, we're here now with our companion guide, ready to redefine normal, where people can interact themselves and answer those questions of self-love, self-care, their core values and principles, and other things. So
I feel like you pretty much summed that one up.
Yeah, okay, I was like, first of all, he held up the book. Flip that book around. Is Alexis on the back?
No, I'm gonna be on
She'll be on the next
I'm
one.
gonna be on the next one.
We
So
got
he's
some
on that one.
Next one. I knew there was some trick to it. Okay. Thank you for that, Justin. You actually had me smiling out here and in here. It just makes me so happy. And I'm not kidding. You just pour so much in to us, all of us, when you tell that story. We're going to come back with a couple questions about the young version of you and a couple experiences. But let's go ahead and take your turn.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know we shared this before, but I will definitely share it again. So I entered foster care when I was about 13. Before that, my biological mother died by suicide, and my biological father was physically, sexually, and emotionally abusive. And so I went through the foster care system. I lived with family most of the time until they kicked me out my junior year of high school. Then I went and lived with the most incredible people on the planet. They're my foster parents, now my adoptive parents. And Justin already mentioned, we met in college, and since then it's just been incredible that we have been able to build all of this together. We've done 13 study abroads combined. We have 3 degrees between the 2 of us. And as you know, less than 3% of foster youth graduate college. And all these incredible things that we've been able to do. And we actually own 5 companies, but the main one being Redefining Normal. And that's where we kind of spread everything that we're doing. And now we're just doing everything we can to spread our message, create awareness, and just spread what it is that we can and serve and impact other people.
Well, and I'll just where's the bell? And I'll just say this because I watch from afar. You know I do. I feel like Mrs. Garrett sometimes. You probably don't even know who she was from.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh, I feel so young right now.
She's from what's the show? Sharon McQueen. You guys, you know Mrs. Garrett with Tootie and what was that show? Why do I always want to say Full House? It wasn't Full House. And it wasn't Give Me a Break. What was that show with Tootie and Joe and Blair? Anyway, yeah, Mrs. Garrett was the house mother. Was it?
Okay.
I said somebody put it in the chat. I don't know.
Somebody will. Yeah, I feel like, like the den father, because you guys are so young, but you're so impactful. I wanted to ask you, Justin, you said you were 9 years old when you entered the system. And Alexa, these same questions would be for you. So when you went into the system and you were taken from your family, was it just you or were there other siblings that went with you to the same place, or did you guys get, torn asunder?
So I'm the youngest of 5. And my oldest brother, I actually went to live with him at first for 2 years. And I think I'm the youngest of 5. So I went to go live with my oldest brother. There's my oldest brother. Then there's my sister. She went AWOL. She was actually pregnant at the time. She was 18. Mm-hmm. And then there was my other brother who was 14 and had a baby on the way. And he went AWOL as well. He lived with a few family members here and there, but he just went AWOL after a while. And I kept up in contact with them. I always knew
what does that mean, AWOL.
Oh,
I know what it means. Absence without leave.
I thought that was like a general term, but AWOL is like if you are in the system. Usually, a lot of times, I think in maybe military or in the army.
That's military. Absence without leave.
Foster care. If you are like in the foster care system or child welfare, and they have records of you, and they like know where you are and placements and different things. If you don't, as a child, or if you're in the system, if you don't participate, if you don't keep up with your records and they don't have track of you anymore, and you kind of just do your
like a runaway.
Yeah, basically run away. Mm-hmm. Now, I knew where they were, and I always kept in contact with them. But it's just as far as operating and interacting with the system, they didn't do that. They just didn't want to do with it.
They said that, so they felt they would be better off just hiking it alone.
Yeah, pretty
being
much
underneath the system and those rules and yeah, I get it. I wish I'd have known that was a thing when I was in. No, I don't, because I'd have probably because I never even considered that running away, and I had good reason, and a lot of times we all did. I wonder. Yeah. Well, God, He already knew. I was like, if we were like cats, there are certain feral ones that can live out there. I'm probably, if I was a cat, I'd be a house cat because I don't think I could run away. I'd be out there, the sun start going down, I'm going to start screaming and running. So, Alexis, tell us about you. You were 13, your mom passed suicide and whatnot. Were you the only child, or were there siblings in your case?
Yeah, so she actually died when I was 6, but I went into foster care at 13. And I do have a half brother, so we have different fathers. Okay. So he went and lived with his father, and then I went and lived with mine. And then when the abuse was reported, the second time, when the abuse was reported, that's when I was taken away from him and technically put into foster care.
Okay. So listen, let's put everybody up on this. You guys talk about, if you could, and I know you can. And again, let me say this. If there's anything that I touch on that's uncomfortable or a scab that's not ready to be picked, by all means, just say pass, no comment, whatever, no follow.
No worries.
Okay. I just want to let you know that's available. So when you were inside, did you ever do any group home time?
No, I didn't. So I lived with my aunt and uncle for like 5 years, and then when they kicked me out, that's when I lived with my foster now adoptive parents, but they moved, so I went and lived with their parents so I could stay in the family because I had already gone to 10 schools at that time, so they did everything they could to keep me at the same school.
Do you know how many homes you were in total?
3.
What about you, Justin?
I was in about 5, so I lived with my oldest brother for 2 years, moved with my aunt for about 5 years, moved with my brother's best friend parents at the time for 8 months, and then moved into a group home. So
okay, it sounds like things have gotten better. Because when I was in, I had 22 homes, and that was like average. I knew kids. I know people today that, triple, 60, 70 homes. Just. So, how old were you when you hit the group home, Justin?
I believe I was 17 because I remember it was 2 weeks after my birthday. And I went to visit them for the first time on my birthday. So yes, I was turning 17 or already 17.
Okay. Now, do you guys remember when you were, in the system still, when you were talking to the people, like the caseworkers and whatnot? How supportive were the people around you that worked in the system? Not the, and I know that includes the foster families because they get paid and whatnot, but a lot of them would do it for free. So not them, but the people who were, where you were a case number to them. How were they as far as supporting your dreams of going to college and saying, yes, that can happen to kids like you?
I mean, for me, I've had so many caseworkers that it's a huge spectrum of people who are just doing this just to do it and not doing the bare minimum. And there are some people who are heavily involved and they want to come to those special events for you and be there for you. It's a huge spectrum, but what I would say is there were a few that stuck out to me. A few bad ones, a few good ones, but near the end of my time in the system, I had an amazing worker who helped me get my first car, was there with me along the college process and helped me be successful. So I think the good outweighs the bad for me. But I feel like over 20, 30 caseworkers, they just switch out every couple months because, they want to go back to school. They get switched to different cases and so many different reasons. So it's hard to say, but they've made a huge impact on me and even taught me from the bad caseworkers how to help other youth and those questions to ask and things to look for and how to put the pressure on them and also have grace and mercy because they can have like 20, 30 cases as well and be overwhelmed. And not that they're trying to do the bare minimum on purpose. They're just overwhelmed sometimes.
That's a great perspective. And you're absolutely right. Alexis, let's talk about what it feels like now to be role models. I know you guys do a lot of stuff. It's in your every time I peek in, it's like you have your own little factory, your own little, looks like a little Fortune 500 company going on over there. Assembly lines with the book.
Money,
yeah, right. I mean, and it's constant. So you're so consistent, which is one of the pieces I believe a lot of people miss. It's not every now and then kind of thing for a lot of people, but you're on it 365. So I applaud that. So tell us, what's it feel like when you go and you speak with kids and alumni and kids who are currently in the system? What kind of questions do they get? How does it make you feel when they look up to you almost like heroes?
Yeah, I mean, it's really incredible that we are now, on the other side where we can go back and we can, go and speak to groups that we were in foster care, such as Michigan Youth Opportunity Initiative or MYOI, and then foster care agencies that we've gone through. We go and speak to like potential foster parents, social workers, staff, kind of you name it. We talk to the entire like foster care community, but definitely it's a sweet spot for us when we go and we're able to talk to the youth and we're able to say do like a guided book club sort of thing where they read our book and then we come in and we do say 4 to 7 presentations and help them go through the workbook, things like that. And just really, asking us like, how did you make it? How did you get over this situation? Yeah. And I think having them read the book, and that gives them a lot of context and that already answers a lot of those foundational questions that they would have for us, because we really did our due diligence and wrote it out in the book. And we're as vulnerable as we possibly could. So a lot of people just want to like fill in gaps of things, or say they'll ask Justin like, why were you like that in the beginning? I really didn't like you in the book. Because of his
you or Justin?
Him. Yeah. He was trying to be a ladies' man in college, like when we first met. And so that's how we kind of start off the book. And so people
said you tried.
Yeah, they'll be like, I really didn't like you in the beginning. Can you tell me why you were like that? Why did you do this and that?
So he was trying. Well, I can't even use that reference. You guys down there. I was going to say. So he was trying to be Billy D. Williams. You don't know who.
I know who Billy D. Williams is. I know.
You do?
I do.
Billy.
I do know
Billy D.
You got one of us.
But I was trying, but I really embraced that type of response, and because I always say there were times in life where I didn't like myself. And to take the reader to a point where they say, oh, I didn't like you in that moment. I embrace that. And I love it because as a writer, that you want people to feel what you felt in that moment. I I want them to feel that I didn't like myself and I was being something outside of who I should have been or who I really was.
Yes.
And if I could take readers into that moment, into playing with their emotions, or I liked him in this moment, didn't like him in this moment, I empathize with him in this moment. If I could take them through that, then I know I'm doing my job as the author and as a writer. So I embrace it.
Gotta ring the bell on that one. That's good. Reinventing blame. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. So let's get into the book. We got 4 minutes before the bottom of the hour commercial break. So why don't you guys set the book up, and we'll come right back from that break and dive in. But set it up by telling us whose idea was the book and who is the book for.
Yeah, so our original book, Redefining Normal, we decided to write that. Well, it started, I guess, more or less in 2019 when a lot of people were reaching out to me and telling me that I need to write a book. But I was really overwhelmed at the idea of writing the book because it just seemed like too much. It seemed like too big of a topic. And Justin would ask me, what is something that you talk about all the time that you could write about? And I said, well, healthy relationships. So initially the book was going to be about healthy relationships because we never saw what that looked like or really were exposed to that until almost college. And so that's how we were going to start the book. And the theme of it. But then once we started to write about that, we're like, okay, we have to get to the actual root of that. What informed our idea of what is normal, what is healthy? And so that's why we had to actually go through and assess our trauma, look at ACEs and do a lot of research and all these things. And that's when it became something much bigger than healthy relationships. I think we talk about that like towards the end of the book, because that's just kind of how it pivoted, which is a beautiful thing when you're writing a book of how it pivots and all, but it all comes together. And so really our book is for individuals, obviously, who've also experienced trauma, who've gone through foster care, who serve those individuals. It's kind of, that wraparound there, but then also people that just want to know how they can serve and impact others, how to get through difficult situations and circumstances, how to be maybe more resilient. Because I would say the first half of our book is written more of a memoir of understanding who we are and laying that foundation. And then the second half is written more of a nonfiction style where it's looking at what it is that we've gone through. How did we go through that process of unlearning and relearning? And how can you do that for your own life?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. So there you have it. There's the premise. We've set it up for you. When we return, we're going to get deep inside the book. I'm going to ask you guys during the break if you can pull a piece or two that are your favorites, each of you. Justin, yours, you did that last time, I remember. Mm-hmm. This time we're going to bring you in on that option as well, Alexis, and just read to us, pour into us, and then we're going to get into the companion book and more, why they decided they needed that, and what is this third piece that's on the way. That and more when we return. Share the broadcast while we're away. Do something for someone else. Watch what happens to you and for you. We'll be right back. Don't you dare go away.
I received this insight about a title called Prisoner of War. The book
to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Michael Harris. Before we get our guests, the Blacks, back in, let me tell you about something that I've done, a small change that has created a big shift in my world. I am talking about this. I was a Diet Coke drinker. Yes, I was, and somebody in this house still is. It ain't me. But, hey, here's how I did it. I tried V8 and I love it. Seriously. Why? Because it's easy peasy. I take the lazy man's approach. I try to get from point A to point B just as quickly as possible. V8 did that for me and still does every day. It is 60 calories only and 100% pure vegetable juice, right? You get 2 full servings, count them, 1, 2 vegetables in every can, and it's easy to find. Just head down the juice aisle in your local grocery store and you'll find it. Delicious, as Lucy would say, tastes just like candy. Now, listen, get yourself in there and try it. You won't regret it. Remember, if you pop the top, you don't have to say, oops, I could have had a V8. You'll say, boy, am I glad I had a V8. There's the bell. And they're back. Hello again. Welcome back.
Hello.
So, the book went number 1.
Yeah.
Then you guys decided we needed a companion book. Talk about that. There it is. And so do you have to have read the book first? It would seem like you would in order to be able to fully appreciate the companion book. Talk about that.
Yeah, that's why.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's why we actually called it a companion guide instead of just like a straight workbook or something else, because it's meant to go hand in hand with the workbook. With the actual book. Because we broke it down in the exact same sections and chapters and everything to reference each other, so that this one's for youth. So to help youth go through the same process that we've gone through in our redefining normal journey. So we broke it down in that same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So pretty much, yeah, you covered it, but I think it basically just is broken down along with the chapters, but is more of a deep dive into everything and asking you those questions. So with the book, you learn a lot about our story, and it's a lot to learn from that. But within the companion guide, you go into your own personal journey of understanding who you are and your future outcomes, and how the culture and standards you set for yourself, how that impacts future generations.
Awesome. So before we get too far inside the companion guide, what kind of response, what kind of feedback have you been getting from people that have read the original?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really incredible. We actually won 9 book awards now, so we're up to 9. And
is that all? 9 book awards?
Yeah, and for being
how does that happen?
That's amazing.
How does that happen? Do you audition? Do you submit? How's that happen?
Yeah, we submitted to all of them. So you would submit a copy of your book, you fill out an application, and then they have thousands of books submitted.
Sorry.
Healthy. They have thousands of books submitted, and we would make the short list, and then from that they would have another committee go through and assess, and we made it. So we won 9, and we were Amazon bestsellers in 4 categories. On Amazon, I think we're 4.9 stars, 220 reviews now, and just a lot of people constantly reaching out to us. Sold about 7,000 books now since November.
Wow.
It's not even been a year, and we've sold about 7,000. So
that's awesome. See what I'm saying? You really are living up to that title, Redefining Normal. So let's talk about that. When you were looking for a title, because a lot of us know that that's probably at first the most important part next to the story, because it catches our attention, draws us in. And yours happened to coincide, your book, with the terminology new normal, which has been prevalent, thrown out there all over the place since the onslaught of COVID. So talk about the title, redefining it. So normal, what did that word mean to you growing up and post foster care? How did it change from one definition into another?
Yeah, I would say really this was a God moment, because the phrase redefining normal was on my heart for probably a year. I just didn't know. It was like it came to me, and I had it there, and I was trying to figure out what can I attribute it to? Like, is it going to be our podcast? Is it going to be, what is it for? Like, I had this name, but I didn't know what it was going to be for.
Right.
And so when we started writing the book, and it was kind of morphing into much bigger, being much bigger than just healthy relationships. That's when it just kind of came to both of us of, this is the name that it's meant to be. And it really is, because everybody has that definition of what normal is. And it wasn't just about us. And we had to find a way to make this book not just a standard memoir or like a lot of other typical books, but we had to make sure that it was a way for people to, to get our information and to put it towards their own life, to, find a way to digest it for themselves.
Invite them in the conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah.
To add on to it also is that I think certain moments in life kind of click with you, and when you think about this title, it always reminds me of certain things. So there have been times in life where, and I won't say like who fan or what family member or the situation, but multiple times I see in life where there's a child sitting down and they're watching something on TV that is not the most positive, that is not the most healthy, something that is kind of they're starting to internalize this. They're starting to soak it in. And I've been in environments where kids are sitting on couches and they're kind of seeing people getting drunk, getting high, seeing a bunch of stuff going on around them, and they start to internalize it, and the music and the visuals and everything, they're starting to internalize it. And then that I've seen children like almost babies, and that they start to grow up, and that starts to become their normal. And now I see them as teenagers, and I've realized that when I try to talk to them about certain things, it doesn't exactly click because it's outside of their normal, and it can't. The advice and the words I'm giving them, it can't infiltrate their brain because it's like the shield around them that they can't comprehend what I'm saying because they're so used to this normal and this culture that they just can't get around that or comprehend anything else. So I think this title goes perfect, and I'm so blessed that Alexis thought of it, and it fits perfect as soon as she thought of it. So I just had to. As soon as she said it, I'm like, it is perfect.
It made sense instantly, right?
Yeah,
that's what they call a no-brainer. So redefining normal. So do you think that a lot of people, when they read the book, it helps remove that barrier that you're talking about, almost like a circle of electric fence or something, keeping everything out and forcing us to hold things that don't serve us in? So how do you think the book helps people when it comes to understanding that in order to pick up something new, we need to first, in most cases, put something that is not serving us down? And do you have anything in there that speaks to just how to do? Because people, I remember when I was reading books like this, they made me feel good while I was reading it. But the moment I woke up the next day or later that same day, back inside my own reality, it was hard sometimes to translate. It would like come in, but I didn't know how to make it come out the other side to accomplish or achieve what I was being told was possible. So talk about what's different about your work to make it user-friendly in the translation.
I would say really that we were vulnerable ourselves first. In any relationship, in any way that you build trust, you always have to be vulnerable and intentional first before you ask that of other people. And so for us to ask other people to assess their own trauma or what informed their definitions of love, community, family, all these things, we had to do it ourselves first. And we use ourselves as kind of like a case study of, this is what we've done, and learn from us. Don't go through the same process. And that actually leads right into what I was going to read. It's super short. And
okay.
This was the fact that I was in an 8-year abusive relationship from 13 to 22. This is what this chapter is more or less about. So,
okay, I'm gonna let you do yours and then just pass straight over, Justin.
Perfect.
You have something as well?
Yep.
Okay, and then you can set yours up. I'm gonna dip out for a second, give you guys the floor, and I'll be back when I can hear you wrapping up. Go for it.
Awesome. Yep. So this one is in the chapter called Revealing the Truth in My Trauma. And we start every chapter with most likely a statistic, a quote, with a Bible verse. And so this one is started with a quote, and it says, "Never get so comfortable in pain that you forget happiness is an option." And that was for me, in that abusive relationship for about 8 years, that I didn't know anything else at that point. I was comfortable in that pain. And I know that sounds like it doesn't make sense, but anybody that has gone through domestic violence or lived in an abusive home, you understand how abuse becomes so normalized that anything else seems abnormal. So, and then after that, I said, how can we do better in life if we've never seen what better looks like? It's hard to change the way you think and improve your mental and spiritual capacity with no examples. For this reason, victims of abuse often turn back to their destructive environment. So that's from my section, and I'll give it to Justin.
Yeah, so One of the things that, like Alexis said, we have statistics in the book because the subtitle of the book is How to Foster Kids Beat the Odds and Discover Healing, Happiness, and Love. So we wanted to kind of incorporate all of those pieces in the healing aspect, the happiness and love, but also that beating the odds part as well. So for every chapter, we have the statistic, but we also have the Bible verse as well, just to show you how these different quotes and different things have carried us along our journey and helped us to get to a process where we can acknowledge that we have trauma and that we need healing. So the part that I want to read and look at is, I talked about it a bit earlier in the interview about how trauma becomes cultural in the definition or changes, where we identify family as your family can abuse you, they can hurt you, they can do whatever with you, but at the end of the day, they're still family. So we want to challenge people with our book, our business, to definitions of love, definitions of family, and all that. And with this quote, I want people to just think about how certain things have been passed down generationally, and if they can change it, and have they mislabeled certain things as trauma when it should be labeled, or mislabeled it as love or something else when it should be labeled as trauma. Mm-hmm. So the quote I have is, unresolved trauma can easily be passed down from generation to generation. Trauma can be passed down as culture and normalized within the family. The reason why it remains within the family for so long is because it is often unidentified and then mislabeled. Multiple families have labeled their unresolved trauma as love. When you identify trauma as love, you then accept everything that comes with it. So if someone is abusing you and they say, oh, I'm abusing you because I love you, then you associate love with abuse. Mm-hmm. If someone is talking crap about you or doing something bad to you and they say, oh, I love you, and they're saying this from childhood to teenage years to young adult, then when you get into a relationship, you notice that I'm going to find somebody that's abusive because they love me, and they're going to do that because they love me. And all these definitions. So challenging everybody to change their definition of happiness, healing, love, and other things, and even family sometimes.
Talk about, yeah, absolutely. Great job there. Thank you for that, both of you. You said something earlier in the universe, that too, in the interview. You referred to desensitized trauma. And a lot of people may think they know what that means, but why don't you tell us what that means to you two, and why you have that in the book?
Yeah, so one of the funny examples is during the process of writing this book, once we had a couple of our drafts ready to go and we collaborated with an editor, we talked to them about some of the things that we experienced of, should we put this in there? Should we put that in there? I don't know if it really matters or if it's a big deal, if it matters at all. And she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened to you. That's crazy. And desensitized trauma, if I can give you an example, is if you are in an environment where, let's say, a woman is being beaten and it's happening publicly, and it's happening like broad daylight, it's happening in the neighborhood or community, and nobody does anything about it. Everybody sees it, but everybody kind of stays to themselves and say, that's not my family, that's not my business, I have nothing to do with it. And it becomes normalized, and the kids see it, you see it, but you do nothing about it. It's not shocking to you. It's not something that, we need to do something about this. There's no immediate change or something that needs to go on, but something that is abusive, something that is unhealthy for the environment, for people. And we just go about it like it's everyday life. And so many different elements of that becomes ingrained into communities and culture that it becomes cultural, and nobody acknowledges it or does anything about it. And it becomes, you're desensitized to it. It's just another day in life. You don't even talk about it or think about it.
You don't talk about it. It's just like people that step over, a homeless person, or can look right through them, or anything that makes them uncomfortable. And I really believe too that what you're describing there, because I talk about this in my mastermind with my group a lot. Haven't really said it too many other places here for the first time, but these things, in my opinion, feed directly into human sacrifice. And a lot of us we think human sacrifice, that's you've been strapped to an altar, they're getting ready to cut your heart out and all that for some, no, but human sacrifice is when you're willing to not do anything, not say anything, and sacrifice another human being just because it's easier to keep your mouth shut. And so I get it. Talk about the redefining piece, if you would, because redefining, some people think, okay, I lost 20 pounds. I just redefined what I look like, and okay, off until the next time. And then it's like, pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. But in the book, you make us believe that it should be, the redefining process should be a constant or consistent process. Talk about that, please.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why it's meant to be a constant process is because, healing is a forever journey. We're not ever really just going to be healed. It's going to be a lifelong journey. And the fact that, even looking at ACEs, so adverse childhood experiences, and the fact that addiction runs in our family, we have to be constantly, like every time we're sick, we think, could we get over this, or do we need medication? So it's daily. It's a daily thought of, we're really stressing out. How do we deal with this and not go to, say, drugs or alcohol or, other things that maybe has run in our family to make sure that we don't have those same outcomes. So it's absolutely a daily, weekly, whatever routine that we have to be super intentional about. And that is what we really talk about in our Redefining Normal journey, is that intentionality that it takes to build that life that you want to live, and not just kind of relive the past of your family and other generations.
Right. Just taking whatever.
Yeah.
Right. I remember when you guys were here last time, I thought it was really interesting. So I want to hit that one more time. Tell everybody about how, when you were in the dating process and when once it started getting serious and you knew, or were at least thinking, this could be the one. And you guys would be going through whatever, and then triggers would happen from your trauma in the system and before the system and all things around the system. And I remember you guys said something about how you had to sit and kind of be vulnerable and really put it out there. I know how that's really affected in us in my marriage, just because I didn't even know, like at the beginning, we in the winter, we're in our little, it's almost like those onesie pajamas, you know what I mean, with the little the feet. We don't have feet in them, but you know what I mean. But that would be cool with the little bumps on the bottom. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Remember when you're little? I used to love being zipped up in that joke.
Yeah.
Right. It just felt like cocooning. So we'll be laying around, and I remember the first time, Brian, like we were watching television, and because of the flannel, and he touched my leg, and it was just like a trigger, recoil, because that was that I had a predator, I had an abuser, who that was the entry point, when you're sleeping, barely touching it, and it was just that feeling. And so talk about that, how you got, and I didn't know that was a trigger. And I just like, what's wrong with me? Why am I recoiling like this? So talk about how you guys deal with, because a lot of people, they don't have to have, this book is not just because you were in foster care. Anyone with trauma, anyone who is dealing with, we've all had trauma, whether you realize it or not. But for those who are ready to face it, because trauma does not travel alone. It does not. With it, every single door of trauma has a doggy door, if you will, where a future blessing has been born into the process of becoming. We just have to be patient and wait on it. So talk about what you guys do, even now, I'm sure, when things come up that it's like the bathtub ring, the dirty ring in the bathtub of that experience. Talk about that, please.
Yeah, I mean, over 70% of Americans have experienced one form of trauma or another, but I'm sure it's much higher than that. That's,
I mean, who hasn't? Where would you be to not have had some kind, even hearing something or seeing something?
Exactly. And a lot of times for the both of us, things may come up where we don't even, we're aware of a lot of our traumas and a lot of our triggers, but things may come up where it could be a smell, it could be, a taste or a touch or, other things that come up. And we just haven't been around that since, our childhood. And maybe just one day we hear something and it comes up. And I know especially in the last probably couple months, it's been coming up for me a little bit more than normal, because my biological father, he got out of prison about 1.5 years ago, but then he just got off of parole in June, and he's been looking for me. And so he's been popping up at family members' houses. And so little things will, trigger me and things. And so it's my job to communicate that to my husband. It's not his job to guess it or to, become the detective or, walk on eggshells or things like that. It's my job to really communicate that to him. But then also him being, open and loving in the way that he is, of as things come up and as I am not able to communicate that to you because I don't even know what it is, or I couldn't even identify that it was a trigger in that moment.
Right.
I may just be in a bad mood, or something, may come up and I'm just randomly crying, which happens all the time. And he's just there with me, loving on me until I'm ready, or I'm able to pinpoint what that is or where it came from. And so I think it's just having that loving, respectful family, or that culture that we're trying to create in our own home together, to where we can process that together as a couple. Because when you are trying to process trauma and other things, and if you don't have a partner who's open and receptive to that, or you have a partner that's like, oh my God, here it goes again, then you're gonna feel a lot of shame and guilt, and you're gonna hold those things in. And anytime that you don't deal with trauma or deal with other things, it's gonna seep out or bleed into other areas of your life. So you really have to deal with that, because it's gonna come out one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Have you guys talked about yet, or decided? Now I'm the nosy uncle. Uncle.
It's all right.
When the day should come, when you decide to begin your own family? Do you think you'll ever foster? What?
I knew that question was coming.
Oh, why are you grinning so hard? Is this something y'all want to tell us?
Oh no. At least I don't think so.
I don't think so either. So
I think you asked about fostering also.
Yeah, would you ever consider fostering?
Right now we're fostering kitties, so we fostering cats.
Somewhere, right?
We start with that right now, but yeah, I definitely want to have biological children. I want to foster children. I think it's just at the right time. I wouldn't want to bring. I think right now as a mentor, we're doing a pretty good job, but I just wouldn't want to bring a child, biological or foster child, or child who's experienced foster care into our lives right now when it's so chaotic as entrepreneurs, and we
start
up and traveling a lot, and like next month we're gonna be in Texas, Florida, Georgia, and like the whole month. So I wouldn't want to bring a child in.
Yeah, that'd be kind of hard.
Definitely, when I'm able to grow with my maturity, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, also, just be able to have a little bit of growth in those areas, and us to be able to enjoy and grow more in our marriage as well. And those first 2 years are always a little bumpy, so be able to have more of a rapport with my wife and grow in our marriage, I think we'll definitely get to that point, but just in the right time.
Yeah. Hey, Alexis, I have a question for you. You mentioned your dad. I remember, I think the first time we were together, if I'm remembering correctly, that was pending. The possibility of him getting out was on the table. Yeah. And we talked about that a bit. And I wanted to ask you now that it is a reality. And Justin, if you want to think of an example in your own journey for this same question, go right ahead. But how important would you guys say the forgiveness piece has been in your ability to redefine your normal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a huge aspect of it. And in a lot of ways, it's forgiveness of other people, but then we also have to learn to forgive ourselves for things that we've done, or shame that we have, or other things that, we over ourselves. And I'm really hard on myself with a lot of stuff. I have this level of excellence or other things that I think I have to get to. And well, who put that in my head, and giving myself more love and grace and forgiving, around that. But then once I forgive myself for certain things, and it could be a daily thing, really, giving grace and that personal forgiveness. But for other people that have hurt us, such as family, friends, whatever it is, that's just always going to linger over us unless we deal with it. And I've forgiven my biological father a long time ago. But that doesn't mean that I want a relationship with him. And that doesn't mean that triggers don't come up. That doesn't mean that the trauma, is not there in my body, that it remembers it. So I have to also give myself grace for that, because I know when I heard that he was looking for me, I got upset at myself of like, why am I still, having an emotional reaction to this? But it's like, but I can't control that. My body is dealing with that in its own way, and it processing it separately, maybe from my mental capacity. And so I have to be able to work through that. But I have to, realize that at the same time of me forgiving him doesn't mean that I want that relationship, and I can still keep a distance from you, because as long as I don't forgive him, that's just going to always linger over me of having that extra control.
So what about second chances? How do you feel about second chances, Alexis?
Yeah, for me, it's a no. It's a solid no on that one. I mean, depending on who it is, but the fact of
Oh, you mean across the board? It's a no.
Huh?
Second chances across the board?
No, with my biological father.
Okay, with your biological.
Yeah, with him specifically, it's a no. With other people that I know I've given multiple chances, and I've set up a boundary, and you completely violated that
Right.
intentionally.
Yes.
If you don't respect me and other things, then I have to forgive you and let you go. And no matter how hard that is. Yeah, and I've lost, several best friends that I've had since I was like 11, and that to me, they're family, and that's traumatic in itself. And forgiving them, forgiving myself, but knowing that you can't come back to that is it's so hard and it's so hurtful. But at the same time, protecting my own boundaries and my own peace and safe place that I'm trying to build for myself, and not allowing other people to kind of just violate that whenever they want to.
Do you guys find that you hear from people, or when you run into people from the past, how often have you heard, I always knew, I said there was something different about you? And I got that a lot too later on when I would, the reconnections and stuff. And I always wondered to myself after the call or whatever it was, the email or text, and I'd say, well, I wonder if so many people knew that, how come so few told me? So few told me. And that's what I love about what you guys are doing, because you're speaking to people that don't even know it applies to them until the truth hits them right in the heart, right in the soul. And then they dive in. I want to throw up on the screen here, not that kind, what people can do to get over. And I want you to get over here. They have, and this isn't even all of them, but let's go through. If you'd like some more information, email at read-definingnormal.com. And also, if Facebook is your jam, at Redefining Normal Movement. And this little ditty, tell us about this, Rose from Concrete podcast, and you can find it on all platforms. That's new. Congratulations. Take us out talking about that, if you would.
Yeah, of course. So the Rose from Concrete podcast, Rose stands for, as you see on the Alexis shirt, rising over societal expectations. And we are all roses. We are all roses grown from concrete. It stems from a Tupac poem saying that everybody are roses that grow from concrete, but everybody only want to focus on the damaged petals of this rose instead of its tenacity and will to reach the sun. And I want to bring people on. I want to have conversations that stem from the book about definitions and ideas of love. One of the recent episodes we had is the cost of happiness. And how much do we need to give and trade of ourselves in order to be happy in life, in business, in our career? How much time and all that goes into being just happy? Inviting people on to talk about their career path of being that rose that grew from concrete. Like we have one of our friends that came on to talk about being an art major at Western Michigan and how hard that is just to be an art major and fight over people's expectations of, oh, that's a stupid degree. Why would you get that and everything? And just people talking about how they're roses in their career and their personal lives. And it's just a beautiful thing. So we invite you on to listen to the Rose from Concrete podcast on all platforms, and just excited to continue that conversation.
Absolutely. Congratulations on all of your accomplishments and those that are on the way right around that corner known as the future. So proud of the example you both are as a fellow alumni of foster care and just as another fellow traveler in this journey, with and for you. I'm just so proud of what you're doing, and just know that if there's ever anything we can do to facilitate even more of what you're doing, you just only need to ask. So you guys get over redefiningnormal.com and all of the others. We'll put those inside the chat right after we close the show out. And in conclusion, Alexis and Justin, great job. Please let us know when the third book is available and out. And we'd love to have you back to tell us even more and keep us, if I have any dreams of catching fish, and my granny say, I had dreams, somebody pregnant. I dreamed that I caught a fish. So if I text you and said I dreamed I caught fish, Uncle Lauren. So you guys listen, have a blessed day. Keep doing what you're doing. And all of you out there, I'm asking you to do the same. Listen, when we do just a little bit, anything, a little bit of something is always going to be better than a whole lot of nothing. When you do that, remember, you have now taken bright to brighter, strong to stronger, sweet to sweeter, bold to bolder. Take that with you, and I'll meet you out front tomorrow morning when Sean Jones is our guest at 8 a.m. Central every day, God willing. In the meantime, change the world one conversation at a time, starting with the one you have with self. God bless you guys. I'll see you tomorrow for your next episode of Bathrobe Moments.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show